Okay, so we're going to show you how to adjust these buckles to either tighten them or loosen them up. So this rear end is what goes around the chest of your dog. And if you need to tighten it up or loosen it up, I'm about to show you how to do that. So you can reference whether you're going tighter or looser by this end here. So it's got this fold stitched in there. If you want to make this back end tighter on the chest, make this flap here longer. So how would you do that? First thing you want to do is grab the buckle. You can even undo it like this. You want to take this outer loop and pull on it. You want to create a loop in that outer strap or outer webbing there. So then what you want to do is you want to take this loop and push it through the ladder lock. So that ladder lock basically is just keeping tension on the webbing. So as this end gets longer, this is going to get shorter and it's going to get tighter around the chest of your dog. Now if you want to make it looser, you want to take this end and push it the other direction so it gets shorter. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this, you're going to push it through the ladder lock like that, making a loop, pull on this end to take up that slack, and then continue pushing that end to get that slack through this whole system here, and it's going to lengthen that all up. So again, to reiterate, if you want it to be tighter, make this end longer. If you want it to be looser, make this end shorter. Okay, so that's how to tighten up this back end. Now, to tighten up the adapt function or the cinch function on the front, it's a little bit more complicated, so we're going to show you how to do that. So, like we said earlier, if when you initially put the harness on, you couldn't get the opening to sit at the base of the neck, or it was simply too much slack, if there's too much slack here or too little, what we're going to do is show you how to adjust that. So the first thing you want to do is, on this upper right corner, there's a bunch of excess slack tucked into a pocket. You can see the pocket right there. And there's a folded end of webbing. So just take that and pull on it, and you'll see this nice big long piece of webbing and then this buckle right here. So again, it's the same concept. Let's say you need more room on the opening of this harness. If you need more room here, what you're going to want to do with this piece of webbing right here with the folded end that's sewn, you're going to want to make this shorter. So if you want to add more room to the opening, meaning making it bigger, make this shorter. Now if you want to constrict this down and make the opening smaller, you're going to want to take this and make this end longer. So how do you do that? Okay, let's say we're going to make this end shorter, meaning the opening is going to get bigger. So here's the buckle. What you're going to want to do is take this end and push it through to make a loop on the top. And you can see that there. You're forming this big loop like this. So now you've got all this slack. You want to continue pushing that slack through the buckle. And you can see I'm forming that inner loop. And I want to take up all that slack that I just created on that inner loop. And I'm going to continue doing that. So this is the end with the folded webbing. I'm going to lay that aside, and I'm going to take this other end here. And this is all connected to this loop now. I'm going to pull on that. And thus, I'm taking up the slack on this end. I'll do it again. I'm going to push it through. Got this big loop here. Now I'm going to take up that slack on this inner loop. And then I'm going to pull all that slack through on this end here. And now you can see there's very little length left to this. Now what I do is I just pull these two parts apart, and you can see how much larger the opening of the harness has gotten. So if you couldn't get it onto the base of the neck at first and you needed more room, this is how you would make it larger. Now let's say you want to make that tighter. You made it way too big and you want to take up that slack. So now what you're going to do is you want to make this end longer. So how do you do that? So the first thing you want to do is take both these ends, the end with the folded bit and this piece here, and push them through as such. You're just creating a little bit of room here. Now what you want to do is you want to take this outer loop and start pulling on that. So what you're trying to do is take up the slack in this system. Think of it as a shoelace. So if I pull on this end here, I want to make it shorter, I pull on this end. Now you want to take all this slack and push it through this system. So I'm going to push it through here. I'm going to pull it through there. And then I'm going to pull it on the end with the folded bit. Now Now you have this huge long bit of slack here, and now effectively you've made the opening of the harness much smaller. Okay, so what do you do with all this excess slack? So we've specifically designed this pocket right here to store all your excess slack. So what you do is you just make some folds in the webbing like this, fold it all up together. Just shove it in there. If it doesn't fit too much, you just got to make those loops smaller. So we can make these loops much smaller as such. Just stuff them in there. That'll keep it nice and neat, just like that. And that's how you adjust the Adapt harness.